Hello and welcome to Wavescan, the international DX program from Adventist World Radio. Researched and written in Indianapolis by Dr. Adrian Peterson and produced in the studios of WRMI in Miami, Florida. I'm Jeff White. Today on Wavescan, an almost forgotten shortwave station on an American island in the Pacific. A report from the High Frequency Coordination Conference in Tunisia, and our Bangladesh DX report. An almost forgotten shortwave station on an American island in the Pacific? Where is the island, and what was the station? That's our opening topic for today here in Wavescan. Actually, the island is 22 miles long and 8 miles wide, and it's located at the edge of the Pacific Ocean, just 20 miles off the coast of California. It's a tourist island and a vacation location for 1 million visitors each year who come ashore from nearby Los Angeles. The island name is Catalina, or more completely, Santa Catalina, and the tourist town on this island is known as Avalon. It was in the year 1918 that the 37-year-old son of multi-millionaire New Yorkers, Major Jordan Lawrence Mott, came to live in Avalon on Catalina Island. During the Great War, he served his country as an officer in the Army Signal Corps. Just 2 years later, Mott constructed his own radio station and was granted an amateur operator's license with the call sign 6BX. During the following year, he accepted an off-site appointment as the assistant editor for the new radio magazine, Pacific Radio News. The March issue of this magazine gave 2 full stories with pictures about Mott's new amateur radio station, 6BX. During the following year, the call sign for the Mott station was changed to 6ZW. In the meantime, Mott was also granted an experimental call sign, 6XAD, and this was issued around mid-year 1920. This experimental license granted Mott the privilege of making test transmissions with music and speech on what was described as variable wavelengths. Another article about the Mott radio station, 6XAD 6ZW, with pictures, was published in QST magazine for August 1922. Around this era, Mott was on the air usually in Morse code, and for example, he was one of the few who maintained continuing radio contact with the Macmillan expedition up towards the North Pole in 1922 and 1923. This expedition was carried in the newly launched ship Baudouin, and its wireless equipment was on the air under the call sign WNP, signifying Wireless North Pole. During the year 1924, Mott began work on the installation of upgraded new equipment for station 6XAD 6ZW, which was installed in his home in Clarissa Street Avenue in Avalon. This equipment enabled the broadcast of speech and music, and he made a series of initial test broadcasts during the afternoons in the winter of 1924. One of these test broadcasts featured a local choir, and it was radiated on what was called at the time a shorter wavelength. The allocated channels in use around this time were 196 meters, 1530 kilohertz, and 172 meters, 1745 kilohertz. In January 1925, it was announced that station 6XAD 6ZW was about to begin a series of transcontinental test transmissions with the Navy radio station NKF, located at Anacostia in suburban Washington, D.C. Just before Easter 1925, Mott made a series of test broadcasts on shortwave over 6XAD 6ZW beginning at 11 p.m., and the channel on this occasion was 150 meters, 2,000 kilohertz. On Easter weekend, April 11th and 12th, special broadcasts from the Easter events on Catalina were relayed to medium wave station KHJ in Los Angeles on the mainland for a wider coverage area. Other special programs that were relayed by 6XAD to the mainland on frequencies just above the medium wave band were a 4-hour musical drama, The Sandman and Queen Titania, a concert on the Wurlitzer organ, and a program of band music from an open-air concert in Avalon. The reconstruction of his radio station was completed a few weeks later, and this included new studio equipment in his home, as well as a grand piano and a new call sign. Initially, it was stated the call sign for the medium wave facility would be KFLM, though when the station was officially inaugurated in mid-August 1925, the call was actually KFWO. Mott used the call letters KFWO to stand for Catalina for Wonderful Outings. The technical equipment at the new KFWO, all of which was located in his Clarissa Avenue home, included a 250-watt transmitter on 211.1 meters, or 1420 kilohertz, and a flat-top wire antenna. The shortwave equipment under the call sign 6XAD was still in use for the purpose of relaying the medium wave programming of KFWO to distant medium wave stations in the continental United States. The new medium wave station, even though on the air at only 250 watts, was often heard far afield, and reception reports came in from many of the American states, including from the staff at the high-powered WLW in Cincinnati, Ohio, and from New York City, and from various areas of Canada. Another correct reception report was received from a listener living in London, England. In the early winter of 1927, the owner of Catalina Island, William Wrigley of chewing gum fame, organized a long-distance swim from Catalina Island to the California mainland, a distance of 22 miles. The Wrigley Ocean Marathon, covering a distance 1 mile greater than the swim across the English Channel, attracted 102 participants. It began at midday on Saturday, January 15th, and ended at 3 a.m. the next morning, with only one successful contender, a 17-year-old Canadian by the name of George Young. In order to provide radio coverage of the entire 15 3/4-hour event, medium wave station KNX in Hollywood placed its remote shortwave transmitter 6XA aboard the SS Avalon. The continuous live coverage from shortwave 6XA was received off-air on Catalina and rebroadcast by medium wave KFWO in Avalon. In turn, many medium wave stations throughout the continental United States relayed this programming, including, for example, KNX in Hollywood, California, KGO in Spokane, Washington, KOA in Denver, Colorado, and KMOX in St. Louis, Missouri. In mid-1927, the licensing authorities required KFWO in Avalon to change channel from 1420 to 1370 kilohertz, and during the following year to 1000 kilohertz. In a second change for the year 1928, KFWO was required to change again, this time to 1500 kilohertz, with a power drop to 100 watts and shared time with KWTC in nearby Santa Ana, California. Around this time, Major Lawrence Mott attempted unsuccessfully to turn his home-based radio station into a commercial operation. Instead, he surrendered the license to the Federal Radio Communication, gave the equipment to station KWTC at Santa Ana, left the island forever, and went to live in Hollywood. That was the end of the Mott radio stations in Avalon on Catalina Island. Amateur 6BX and 6ZW, medium wave KFLM and KFWO, and shortwave W6XAD. During his 10 years of radio activity on the island, Mott was given very wide coverage of his radio events by the local newspaper, the Catalina Islander, and he issued many QSL cards. At least 3 QSL cards are known: a blank card printed with the call sign 6XAD, another similar card printed with 2 call signs, 6XAD and 6ZW, and a third card, a colored tourist card printed on the text side with the complete details of station KFWO. Also offered was a QSL stamp printed specifically for station KFWO showing a swimmer diving into the ocean. The American island in the Pacific was Catalina. The almost forgotten shortwave station was the experimental station W6XAD, which made numerous program broadcasts during its 10-year lifetime in the 1920s.
You're listening to Wavescan from Adventist World Radio. Send your comments and reception reports to Wavescan, Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229 in the United States. That's Wavescan, Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229 in the USA. Or you can email us at wavescan@awr.org. Our email once again, wavescan@awr.org.
Wavescan presents Focus on Africa, a year-long series of reports about shortwave broadcasting and listening on the African continent. As our regular listeners know, we were in Tunisia, North Africa, for the semi-annual High Frequency Coordination Conference at the end of January and the beginning of February. While we were there, I had a chance to talk with some of our colleagues from the U.S. National Association of Shortwave Broadcasters, or NASB. Jerry Plummer from WWCR, you were here at the last Tunis conference 4 years ago, right?
Yes, I sure was. I'm very happy to be back to this one, Jeff.
And certainly Tunisia has changed a lot since then, right?
Yes, there's a whole change in governmental things and a whole lot less pictures of one person here.
Yeah, that's the first thing I noticed. No pictures of the president up anymore.
Right.
Now, last time we met in the city of Hammamet,
yes,
which is an hour and a half south of here. But this time we're actually in Tunis, or in a suburb of Tunis.
Gamarth, yeah. It's almost the opposite side of Tunis itself, but yet also right on the Mediterranean, as we were in Hammamet. I might add, we have a very good crowd this time. Over almost 100 attendees, I believe, if that's correct?
Yeah, I think about 95 or so. And they come from 40-some organizations, stations and frequency management organizations from around the world. But you're not the only one here from WWCR. And, of course, you're also representing Caribbean Beacon.
Sure am. Yeah.
But from WWCR, we have Brady Murray, the Vice President of NASB. Brady, what do you think of this thing?
I think Tunis is wonderful. And I'm very glad to be here. I haven't been to Tunis before, but I have been to two previous HFCCs, Dallas and Punta Cana. So
right.
09 and 11 I think.
Every other year.
But this is the farthest away from Nashville, Tennessee that I've been, and it's been very eye-opening. We're keeping some good data on WWCR signals, frequencies, and it's been a very productive trip so far.
Well, I knew you'd be monitoring the station here. Have you been able to hear WWCR signal here in Tunis?
Yes, very well. Some very strong signals, higher frequencies. I think that's to be expected, but we're certainly building on some ideas that we're getting based upon the information that we're collecting. And Doc is a database guru, and so I'm also getting an education on how to construct the beginnings of a database and graphing those results. So I think that WWCR is going to benefit greatly from this visit.
I think Brady's also got a lot of things that's worked in his favor of just seeing how in an environment like this, people from different cultures can work together. Us and the Iranians are a good example of that.
Absolutely. We've had some good talks with the Iranians, with Bulgarians, and the head of the ASBU.
Basil?
Basil,
yes.
And, of course, Aldrich Chip, and folks that are just glad that we're here. And I'm sorry that other members of the U.S. Delegation couldn't be here, but I'm glad that we're here. And I would just like to say to all Wavescan listeners that it's a wonderful place. Feel very safe, and I think that it's just a very productive trip.
Now, Brady, does WWCR specifically target African ITU zones?
That's really a better question for Doc. I'm here to learn from Doc, but Doc is our frequency manager, but we do, yes.
Yes, we do. And what Brady's looking for is we really have no monitors in North Africa, and he has clients that are interested in this area, and that's why he's checking it. And his data is going to wind up being very, very realistic and not inflated or something somebody made up. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. But it looks like it's working.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Do you have organizations that come to you and specifically say, we want to reach Africa?
Yes, and I think we've seen an increase in those types of organizations over the past 6 months maybe, and I think especially since the beginning of the year.
We also have with us the president of the NASB, Glenn Tapley, from WEWN in Birmingham, Alabama. Glenn, we have a very important meeting coming up in a few months, in May 15th to 17th, at your headquarters.
Yeah, that's May 15th through the 17th at EWTN. Wednesday evening, there's going to be a reception at the Holiday Inn Express in a small suburb called Irondale, where actually we're located just outside of Birmingham. Mm-hmm. And then Thursday on the 16th, we'll meet at EWTN Studios, the corporate headquarters there in Irondale, and we'll have our talks with Mr. Chow from AWR, the president. There will be Michael Rosso from Continental Electronics.
The new president or vice president of Continental. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be interesting, and we're going to have a lot of fun there, and we're going to have some interesting people there. And also on Friday, we're going to go up to WEWN, which is actually the Shortwave Studios, and we're going to have a grill out, a barbecue there for everybody. So that should be fun. It's a shortwave facility up on top of a mountain, probably something unique, but it's a very nice area. It's a great view. We'll get you up there, and we'll have a good time. So we invite everyone to come and be a part of NASB 2013.
This is the meeting is not just for shortwave broadcasters, but also for people who listen to shortwave, right?
Yeah, shortwave listeners, DXers, you're invited. You come on. It's not going to cost you anything, and we'll make room for you. We're going to be staying at the Holiday Inn Express, but more information can be found on the NASB website. So we invite you to go to www.shortwave.org and take a look at it and register and come be with us. We'd love to have you.
Just click on annual meeting and you'll find all the details there, and actually an online registration form as well. The shortwave facility of WEWN, how many transmitters and antennas do you have up there on the mountain?
We've got 4 transmitters, Continental. They're at 500 kilowatts maximum use, and we have 8 antenna. It's a curtain array. If you're into DXing, if you're into shortwave listening, you're going to want to see this site because it's really, really cool. And we'll set you a plate of barbecue for you while you're up there. So we're just going to have a good time. It's going to be good just to get together with you and talk with you. You can ask questions. You can look at the transmitters and take a look at the whole facility up there. So I think it's going to be something. Bring your camera and take some pictures. So we'd, again, love to see you there.
Now, the broadcasts, do they actually come from that site, or are the studios down in Irondale?
Well, we're in a transition right now. We had the production studios there up on the mountain at the transmitter site, and we've just are now in the process of moving those to the corporate headquarters to Irondale. Mm. So there'll probably be one studio up there still for you to look at, but of course, when you're in Birmingham, in Irondale at the corporate headquarters, you'll see everything EWTN has at that site, which will include the studios for radio. And we'll explain to you our transmission, how we get the programming to the mountain, and we'll also give you a tour of the television network, which should be interesting to you as well.
Of course, probably most people in the U.S. are familiar with EWTN, the Eternal Word Television Network, which is on, typically on cable and satellite systems, and in other parts of the world as well, right?
That's correct. We're on 13 satellites all over the world, and other means of transmission as well, and I think 6,000 or so cable systems, as well as the United States, of course, DirecTV and Dish Network as well.
Now, does WEWN target Africa?
We do. We actually target the west coast of Africa, and we get down in Central Africa as well.
We've
You've been monitoring.
We've been monitoring WEWN as well, and very strong signals. And while I've got the floor, Glenn may be a little bit humble about this, but I would certainly invite anyone with any interest in shortwave to attend the meeting, because you're going to see facilities that are second to none.
Awesome.
And I've had the privilege of being there one time. It's very memorable, and regardless of where the production takes place, the hardware is on the mountain. Mm-hmm. and it is mind-blowing. Anyone that is interested in shortwave transmission, antennas, and I think you can almost see tunas from the top of the mountain. But it's going to be, barbecue or not, just what you'll see is very memorable, and it's put together very well, and I think that folks will really, really enjoy seeing the facilities.
And I understand it's actually an interesting trip to get up the mountain, right?
Yeah, it is. It's 2 miles of dirt road. There is a hairpin, and we'll get you up on the mountain. You won't have to worry about that. There's a hairpin turn about halfway, and I think when we were building the facility, we lost a dump truck and another flatbed that was carrying the antenna parts up there. We eventually, they were okay. The drivers were fine. We had to pull them out with the crane, though. But it's an interesting ride. It's a scenic ride up there. It's rural, but it's about 40 minutes from EWTN corporate headquarters. So it's not a bad ride. It's not a long ride, but it's an interesting ride. And when you get to the top of the mountain, you might want to get a guitar and start singing. It's one of those vistas that's kind of cool. You'll like it. Yeah,
You're right.
And the best part of it is there's no cost to attend, right?
That's right. Yeah, you guys come, and we've got a good situation worked out with Holiday Inn Express in Irondale, which is a mile from the EWTN corporate headquarters, and we will shuttle you back and forth between EWTN and the Holiday Inn at no cost. So that'll be available to you. So if you fly in and get a cab, say, to the Holiday Inn Express, then we're about 10 minutes away from the airport, so it's not going to cost you that much anyway.
And the Holiday Inn includes breakfast?
It includes breakfast, so it's not a bad deal, and it's not that expensive, and I think you'll enjoy it.
And there'll be the reception on Wednesday night.
Yep.
And then I think lunch is included on Thursday and the barbecue on Friday?
That's right. Yeah, we're going to feed you on Thursday lunch at EWTN, and we'll have it catered in. So I think it's going to be an opportunity for you guys to come and enjoy the fellowship that we'll have, but also see the transmission site and the EWTN television side as well, and we'll be around to explain things and show you around. You ask questions for people smarter than I am, and I'm sure they'll be glad to fill you in on what's going on.
Okay, and again, to get the information and to register, the website is?
www.shortwave.org, and click on Annual Meeting, and there the information will be.
And our thanks to Jerry Plummer and Brady Murray of WWCR and Glenn Tapley of WEWN, who we were speaking with there at the HFCC conference in Tunis, Tunisia. Now let's go to Bangladesh. Here's Salahuddin Dolar with his monthly DX report.
Dear listeners and radio hobbyists, welcome you in the March 2013 edition of Bangladesh DX report in Wavescan. This is Salahuddin Dolar from the beautiful city Rajshahi, Bangladesh. Glad to be back and thanks for listening. Let's start. Deutsche Welle Bengali service closed down its transmission. From March 8, 2013, Deutsche Welle Bengali service closed down its transmission, which aired on FM in all divisional cities in Bangladesh. Deutsche Welle was very popular to the listeners in Bangladesh after BBC. 3 years ago, Deutsche Welle shut down their transmission on shortwave. When many new FM radio stations are starting their transmission in Bangladesh, Deutsche Welle takes this decision of closing down. Deutsche Welle South Asian head Mr. Graham Lucas informed that they are going to start a 30-minute long weekly TV program which will be broadcasted from private satellite TV station Bangladesh Ekushe TV, which will be aired from April 13, 2013. Now A13 frequency schedule of Radio Veritas Asia in South Asian languages, which will be effective from March 31, 2013. Bengali 00130 to 00157 UTC on 15 to 65 kHz, 1400 to 1430 UTC on 11870 kHz. Hindi 00130 to 00157 UTC on 15 to 80 kHz, and 1330 to 1400 UTC on 11870 kHz. Sinhala 0000 UTC to 00127 on 15460 kHz and 1330 to 1400 UTC on 9520 kHz. Tamil 00130 to 00157 UTC on 11855 kHz and 1400 to 1427 on 9520 kHz. Telugu 0100 to 0127 UTC on 15530 kHz and 1430 to 1500 UTC on 11750 kHz. Urdu 0100 to 0127 UTC on 15280 17860 kHz and 1430 to 1457 UTC on 15330 kHz.
Thanks, Salahuddin. We want to remind you that there's been a time change in North America. So now the new times for Wavescan, days and times for Wavescan via WRMI in Miami on 9955 kilohertz are the following. On Sundays at 10:30 UTC, Monday at 1100 UTC, Wednesday at midnight UTC, Wednesday at 1100 UTC, Thursday 0300, Friday 0315 UTC, Saturday 1100 and 1300 UTC, and also Saturday at 2230 UTC. All of those days are also UTC days on 9955 kilohertz. And we end today's edition of Wavescan with some music from Tunisia. Thanks for listening to Wavescan, the international DX program from Adventist World Radio. Researched and written in Indianapolis by Adrian Peterson. Next week, the world's first wireless newspaper and our Australian DX report. If you'd like a QSL card, either from AWR or WRMI for this program, you can send your reception reports to Wavescan, Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229, USA. That's Wavescan, Box 29235, Indianapolis, Indiana, 46229, USA. You can email us at wavescan@awr.org with your comments, suggestions. The address again, wavescan@awr.org. I'm Jeff White at WRMI in Miami. Till next week, good listening, everyone.